Good day, everyone. We are Group Asia, and for our presentation, we chose China as the focus of our topic. Pinili namin ang China dahil isa ito sa mga nangungunang bansa pagdating sa electrical engineering at power systems. At dahil sa mabilis nilang industrial growth, mahalagang pag-aralan kung paano nila hinahandle ang occupational safety and health sa kanilang electrical industry. Sa report na ito, tatalakayin namin ang responsibilidad ng mga engineer pagdating sa kaligtasan at kung paano ito ay pinakatupad sa China. So, next slide please. So, first chapter is promoting safety and health as engineers, professionals, and ethical responsibility. Next, please. So, what is occupational safety and health or OSH? It is a structured system designed to protect workers from hazards in the workplace. It includes policies, safety procedures, inspections, and training programs that aim to prevent accidents, injuries, and occupational diseases. In electrical engineering, OSH becomes extremely important because we deal with high voltages systems, heavy equipment, substations, and industrial power systems. A simple mistake such as touching an energized conductor or failing to ground equipment properly can result in severe injury or death. That is why OSH is not just about company rule. It is a legal and moral obligation. Engineers must always think about safety and before starting any design or operation. So next slide please. So why OSH is important? It is important because engineering work directly affects human lives. Electrical systems operate at dangerous voltage and current levels. And if something fails, the result can be fatal. A clear example of this is happened in 2016 in Jiangxi province, China, where a construction platform at a power plant collapsed during installation work. Investigation revealed that safety enforcement and supervision were weak. 74 workers lost their lives in that single accident. This tragedy shocked the nation and forced stricter industrial safety enforcement across China. It shows that when safety procedures are ignored or treated lightly, the consequences can be catastrophic. Beyond protecting lives, OSH also prevents equipment damage and production downtime, and it protects companies from lawsuits and penalties. Therefore, safety is both a human responsibility and professional requirement. So next slide, please. So ethical responsibilities of engineers. It means that safety must always come before profit or production pressure. As engineers, we are expected to follow national standards, comply with safety codes, and refuse unsafe instructions, even if they come from supervisors. Imagine working in a large industrial factory in China where production demand is very high. Suppose a protective relay in a transformer system is malfunctioning, and instead of shutting down the system for repair, a, supervis- a supervisor tells you to temporarily bypass the protection so production can continue. If you agree, you are exposing the system to possible overload or short circuit, which may lead to transformer explosion or arc flash. It may In many industrial incidents, similar decisions driven by production pressure have led to major accidents. Ethical engineers must have the courage to stop operations, when safety is compromised because human life is more important than profit. So next slide, please. So chapter 2, Occup- occupational safety in electrical systems. Next slide, next slide, please. So basic electrical safety principles. Electrical safety is built on several fundamental principles. First is proper grounding, which ensures that fault current safely flows to the earth instead of passing through a person's body. If grounding's resistance is too high, dangerous touch voltage can appear on equipment surfaces. There have been rural substation incidents in parts of China where improper grounding causes electrocution when workers touch metal enclosures during fault conditions. Second is overcurrent protection, using circuit breakers and fuses to stop excessive current during overload or short circuit. Third is insulation, which prevents direct contact with live conductors. Finally, equipment isolation ensures that machines are completely de-energized before maintenance begins. These principles work together to reduce electrical hazards. Next slide, please. So, these common electrical hazards. Electrical hazards are extremely dangerous and often underestimated. Electric shock occurs when current passes through the human body. Even as low as 30 milliamperes can affect breathing, while higher currents can cause cardiac arrest. In several construction projects in China, workers were electrocuted due to exposed temporary wiring that was not properly insulated or monitored. These incidents happened because basic safety procedures was ignored. Another major hazard is arc flash, which occurs when a short circuit creates an explosive release of energy. The temperature of an arc flash can reach up to 20,000 degrees Celsius, which is hotter than the surface of the sun. Short circuits can also cause electric fires that spread rapidly in industrial facilities. This hazard shows why strict compliance with safety standards is necessary. Next slide, please. So let's talk about why arc flash is so dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous electrical hazards is in industrial environments. It is usually caused by a short circuit or equipment failure inside switchgear or panels. When this happens, a massive amount of energy is released in the form of heat, light, and pressure. In several manufacturing plants in China, arc flash incidents occurred during maintenance because workers often energize panels without properly de-energizing the system or using lockout-tagout procedures. Some workers suffered severe burns and permanent injuries. These incidents led to stricter enforcement of arc-rated personnel, protective equipment, and mandatory safety verification before maintenance work. This demonstrates that even experienced workers can become victims if safety protocols are not strictly followed. Next slide, please. So, this lockout tagout procedure, commonly known as LOTO, it is a procedure used to prevent accidental energization during maintenance. It ensures that no one can turn on the equipment while someone is working on it. There was a documented case in an industrial facility in Guangzhou where a technician turned off a breaker but failed to lock up. In another worker, unaware that maintenance was ongoing, turned the breaker back on. The technician was seriously injured to the electric shock. After similar incidents, strict personnel lotto policies were implemented, requiring each worker to use their own lock and tag. This system prevents assumptions and ensures that equipment remains safely de-energized. Next slide, please. Personal protective equipment or PPE serves as the last line of defense against the electrical hazards. It does not eliminate the hazard but reduces the severity of injury if an incident occurs. In one substation maintenance case in China, a worker survived an arc flash incident because he was wearing a complete arc-rated PPE, including flame-resistant clothing and face shield. Although he sustained minor injuries, his life was saved. If he had not been wearing a proper PPE, the outcome could have been fatal. However, it is important to remember that PPE should never replace proper engineering controls such as grounding, isolation, and overcurrent protection. So, the next reporter is the next slide.
So I'm Ryzen Roa and I'm the reporter for the Chapter 3 Industrial Hygiene. So next slide. So una, ano nga ba yung industrial hygiene? So yung industrial hygiene daw, sa China, pinupukusan yung anticipation, recognition, evaluation, and control of workplace hazards that may cause injury or occupational diseases. So ibig sabihin, yung meaning ng industrial hygiene, hindi siya sa pangkalinisan, pero hindi lang hindi lang basta sa pangkalinisan ko na recognize din, na-anticipate, na-evaluate yun nga, yung mga pwedeng mag-cause na injury sa pinagtatrabahuan. Next slide. So, identifying workplace hazard. Industrial hygiene in China focuses on identifying and monitoring, una, yung dust exposure. Kasi mostly sa mga industry sa China are coals and minings. So, yun nga, mas exposed yung mga workers sa China sa dust exposure, and then toxic chemicals in manufacturing. So, toxic chemicals, so exposure sa mga benzene, heavy metals, lead, mercury, solvents, and toxic gases. Tapos yung natin matatagpuan sa mga electronics manufacturing, battery production, and chemical plants. So, enterprises are required to classify and report toxic substances, the use and production para maiwasan yun. And then next is noise exposure in factories. So, yung uso naman sa mga industry, yung gumagamit sila ng mga high noise levels sa mga factories, tapos sa construction sites, no? Steel plants, may mga machines sila doon na malakas yung tunog, yun. So, kaya yung mga trabahador, ano sila, exposed sila sa noise hazards. And then, next is yung heat, stress, and radiation. So, yung heat exposure, no? So, kaya mahalaga yung mga ventilations sa trabaho. Then, yun, next is ergonomic hazards, kasama yan. So, kapag poor yung posture sa line of work, so, yun, magkakaroon siya maging risk. Then, next slide, please. So, next is, so, yun nga. So, since most sa industry sa China is mining and yun nga, coals, so one of the most serious occupational diseases in China is pneumoconiosis, so also called as black lung disease, a lung disease caused by long-term dust exposure ayon sa WHO. So since nga yung since nga mining and mostly coal production yung mga industry sa China, so yun yung reported na most reported disease is yung pneumoconiosis. So, next slide please. So for industrial hygiene practices, China implements several industry hygiene measures. So una, yun nga, yung regular workplace assessment. So companies must conduct hazard identification before starting operation. So bago mag-start ng operation, dapat yung mga kumpanya, dapat ina-identify nila yung mga hazard, and then risk grading and classification systems. Tapos yun nga, high-risk enterprise undergo more frequent inspection. So kapag mas mataas yung risk, mas madalas sila mag-undergo ng risk inspection. So next is yung mandatory occupational health examination. So yun nga. So mostly lagi na lang chine-check yung mga health ng mga workers. So next is environmental monitoring systems. So yun nga, since focus, so na-monitor yung mga trabahador, and then monitor din yung workplace mismo. So what is the hazard, yung mga risk, and then next, yung reporting systems for occupational diseases. So yun nga, may reporting systems din sila, so for occupational diseases. So like may after ma-assess yung health ng mga workers nila, so may reporting system sila na ginagamit para ma-assess yung trabahador na yun. And then public awareness and worker education campaigns. So yun, yung mga briefings, like meetings. So yun, next please. So chapter 4 are control measures for OSH hazards. So next slide po. So engineering controls are the first line of defense in China's OSH system. So una yung installation, yung example is yung installation of ventilation system. So yun nga, yung local exhaust, kailangan yun sa mga factories, dust extraction systems in mining and cement plants, and air purification system sa mga chemical plants. So isa yun sa mga binibigay ng ventilation system benefits. And then machine safety guards. So ano nga ba yung mga machine safety guards? So makikita natin yung mga machines, lalo na yung mga moving parts na may enclosed or may parang may cover sila. So yun, may natin sa picture. Then yun na yun, piniprevent nila mga physical injuries. So yun, meron din ibang emergency stop systems or interlocking devices. So next yung dust suppression system. So sa dust suppression system naman, so yun nga, gumagamit sila yung ganyan nga, yung para makontrol nila yung dust. So minimoist nila para hindi ganun kumalat. And then yung noise reduction technology. So mostly ng mga may ingay na mga machines, naka-enclose sila sa isang kwarto. So like makita natin sa picture, yun, may soundproof enclosures, installation of dampers na maintenance to reduce the noise emission. So madalas na may maintenance yung mga equipment or yung mga machines. So there's yung process automation. So most ito makikita natin sa China. So madalas na mga mga manufacturer is yung mga robots na mismo, no? So para ma-prevent yung exposure ng mga workers, no, lalo sa mga high risks na manufacturing, yun. And next slide please. So yun nga, sa administrative controls naman, administrative controls in China include safety training programs. So sa safety training programs, so yung mga written safety manuals, standard operation procedures, and hazard communication protocols. Then yung work rotation naman, yung next bullet, so limits exposure time to hazardous environment. So may palitan ng trabahador. So hindi siya babad dun sa hazardous environment, so may palitan. And then next, yung government inspections. So Sa government inspections naman, yun yung regular safety audits, surprise inspection, surprise madalas inspections, penalties for non-compliance. Then yung accident reporting requirements, yun nga. Yung pag may emergency na nangyari, agad na nire-report, no? So, next slide, please. So, for personal protective equipment, so, yun nga, employers in China are legally required to provide appropriate PPE to workers exposed to hazard. So, pina-provide na nila yun. So, yun yung mga respirators, yung mga type na N95 respirators, chemical cartridge masks, powered air purifying respirators, no? So, mostly yan para sa mga exposed sa mga chemicals or yung, yun nga, hazardous. Then, yung safety helmets naman, yun, no? Mostly makita natin sa mga construction sites, yun, para maprotektahan yung head. Then, so, yung next naman yung hearing protection. So, ito yung mga sa heavy industry na sobrang ingay ng mga machines or may mga processing na sa pakaingay. So, kailangan earplugs, earmuffs, then yung protective clothing, syempre din mawalayan yung mga hazmat, example yun. So, safety goggles naman, no, para sa eye protection, no. Then, next reporter, please.
So for the next reporter, I am Vince Adrian Aslibari and dun tayo sa China's occupational health. Next is, so what is occupational health risk? So malaki ang workplace ng China, kaya maraming manggagawa ang nasa panganib ng mga isyong pangkalahatan na trabaho, lalo na sa mga industriya tulad ng pagmimina, chemical at construction. So libo-libo din yung nagkakasakit dito. Pero kasi hindi lahat is nakikita doon sa ospital, lalo na kapag hinaharap ng mga babae ang mga hamon sa pagbalance ng trabaho at buhay sa bahay. Kaya kinakailangan ng mas maayos na safety measures para maprotektahan sila. So next. So sa China kasi, maraming tao ang nagtatrabaho sa factories, construction, mining, at manufacturing. Dahil isa ito sa pinakamalaki industrial countries. Dahil dito, maraming workers ang exposed sa hazards tulad ng chemicals, alikabok, malalakas na ingay, makinarya at mahabang oras ng trabaho. Nagkakaroon din ng ilan ng lung problems, hearing loss, muscle pain at stress. Ibig sabihin, habang lumalaki yung industry ng China, tumataas din yung occupational risk kung hindi sapat yung safety measures. And next. Ang pneumoconiosis, ito yung sakit sa baga na dulot ng matagal na paglaganap ng alikabok, lalo na sa mga minahan, construction sites at pabrika. Dahil maraming manggagawa sa China ang nasa mining at heavy industries, mataas ang bilang ng kaso nito. Sa mga nakaraang taon, ipinakita sa mga studies na kulang yung maayos na protective equipment, tsaka mahabang exposure ng dust ng pangunahing dahilan. Next is yung occupational poisoning. Isa ring malaki issue. Nangyayari ito kapag ang mga workers ay exposed sa toxic chemicals tulad ng solvents, heavy metals, at industrial gases. Sa ilang manufacturing at factory settings, may mga naitalang kaso ng pagkalason dahil hindi sapat yung ventilation nila o kakulangan sa safety training. So based kasi sa research, mas nanganganib ang mga manggagawa sa small at medium enterprises kung saan minsan ay hindi mahigpit ang safety monitoring. And next. Ang musculoskeletal disorder sa mga Chinese workers, ito yung mga sakit o pananakit sa likod, balikat, braso, o iba pang parte ng katawan. Dahil sa mabibigat na trabaho, paulit-ulit na galaw, at mahabang oras ng pagtatrabaho, maraming pag-aaral ang nagsasabi na ang factory at construction workers ay madalas makaranas ng ganitong kondisyon dahil sa physical strain at kakulangan sa ergonomic support. So next is yung capacities building of occupational health. Dahil sa problemang ito, pinalalakas ng China yung capacity building of occupational health. Ibig sabihin nito, pinapabuti ang training ng workers, pag-inspection sa workplace, health monitoring programs, at pagpapatupad ng mas mahigpit na batas para sa kaligtasan sa trabaho. Based din ulit sa studies, unti-unting bumubuti ang occupational health system ng China dahil sa mas maayos na policies at mas mataas na aware tungkol sa worker protection. So next is ang health surveillance and monitoring. So ayon sa mga ulat at pag-aaral, nagkaroon ng tuloy-tuloy na pagbaba ng work-related health conditions sa mga nakaraang taon mula 2019 hanggang 2022. Bumaba ng humigit kumulang 40% ang mga bago na rehistrong kaso ng occupational disease. Sa kabuuan, may ulat din na bumaba ng 58% ang mga kaso ng occupational disease, kabilang na mga suspected cases. Kasama sa mga karaniwang issue ang occupational noise exposure na maaaring magdulot ng hearing problems sa mga manggagawa. Ang pagbaba ng kaso ay resulta ng mas mahigit na pagpapatupad ng safety regulations, mas maayos na health monitoring at pagpapalakas ng occupational health program sa bansa. Next is personal protective equipment. So sa head protection, gumagamit ng safety helmets o hard hats para protektahan ang ulo laban sa nahuhulog na bagay o matitinding impact sa construction at industrial sites. Next is yung eye and face protection. Safety glasses, goggles at face shields yung ginagamit para maprotektahan yung mata at muka laban sa alikabok, debris at chemical splashes. Next niyan is respiratory protection. Mask at respirators tulad ng N95 ang ginagamit para ma-filter ang alikabok at panganib na particle sa hangin upang maiwasan ang sakit sa baga. The next is hearing protection. Earplugs or ear muffs ang isinusuot para mabawasan ang exposure sa malalakas na ingay na maaaring magdulot ng hearing loss. Next is hand protection. Iba't ibang klase ng gloves tulad ng chemical resistant, cut resistant, at heat resistant ang ginagamit depende sa uri ng trabaho at hazard. Next is yung body protection. Protective clothing gaya ng coveralls o aprons ang isinusuot para maprotektahan ng katawan laban sa chemicals, dumi o init. And next is yung foot protection. Safety boots o shoes na may protective toe caps at slip-resistant soles ang ginagamit para maiwasan ang injury sa paa. And next is yung fall protection. Kapag nagtatrabaho sa mataas na lugar, gumagamit ng harness at lanyards para maiwasan ang pagkakahulog. And next slide. PPE selection and proper usage. Ito sa hazard identification, ang unang hakbang sa workplace safety ay pagtukoy ng mga posibleng panganib sa lugar ng trabaho. Kailangan suriin ng mabuti yung environment para matukoy kung anumang bagay na maaaring makasama sa empleyado. Next is yung maintenance. Kasama sa proseso ang pag-identify ng lahat ng potential risk tulad ng physical, chemical, biological, at ergonomic hazards. So, pamamagitan nito, malalaman kung anong klaseng personal protective equipment o PPE yung kailangan. Next is yung fit and comfort. Pagkatapos matukoy yung hazard, mahalagang pumili ng PPE na tamang protection at pasada sa safety standards. Dapat din itong tama ang sukat at komportable upang magamit ng maayos ng manggagawa. And last, is yung choose appropriate PPE. Mahalaga ring regular na i-inspect, linisin, ayusin at itago ng maayos ang PPE para manatili itong epektibo at ligtas gamitin. So next reporter please.
So, next is yung chapter 7 natin, which is yung OSH programming. So, next slide please. So, ano nga ba yung OSH programming? So, yung OSH programming, it refers to the structured plan, organization, and control of workplace safety systems. So, the main goal is to prevent accidents, injuries, and occupational diseases. So, in simple terms, this is how a company designs and manages its overall safety system para maging organized, systematic, and effective ang implementation ng safety measures. So, next slide please. So moving on, how do companies develop an OSH program? So developing an OSH program means designing a safety management framework that fits the size and risk level of the company. So hindi siya one size fits all. Nakadepende siya sa nature ng operations. And meron tayong apat na key components kung paano mag-develop ng OSH program. So yung first key component natin is yung establishing responsibility. So dito, dinidefine ang safety responsibilities at all organizational levels. So there must be a principal person in charge of work safety and may appointed safety management personnel din siya. So clear dapat kung sino ang accountable at sino ang responsible sa safety implementation. Sa next natin is yung hazard identification and risk management. So first, identify the potential workplace hazards, then evaluate the risks based on likelihood and severity. After that, develop control measures to eliminate or at least reduce those risks. So this step is very important kasi dito nakabase yung preventive actions ng company. So next slide please. So yung next natin is yung safety policies and procedures. So this includes written safety rules and safe operating procedures. So kasama rin dito yung development ng emergency response plans and dapat may established reporting and investigation procedures for accidents. So meaning, everything should be documented and standardized. And yung last natin, which is yung resource allocation. So the company must ensure adequate and funding for safety equipment, training, and preventive measures. They must also provide appropriate PPE and safety facilities. So katulad nga na sinabi din kanina. So hindi lang plano, dapat may budget and resources to support the program. So next slide please. So move on tayo sa implementing an OSH program. So implementation ensures that the policies and procedures are actually applied in daily operations. Hindi lang siya dapat nasa papel. So meron tayong mga several key actions na kailangan gawin para doon. So first yung safety education and training. So workers must receive mandatory safety training before starting tasks. And for high-risk roles, specialized training must also be conducted. So yung second natin is yung workplace supervision and inspection. So companies should conduct regular internal safety inspections and any identified hazards must be corrected immediately. So continuous monitoring is very important talaga dito. So next slide. So next is yung hazard control measures. So this includes engineering controls, administrative controls, and use of PPE. High-risk processes and equipment should also be closely monitored. Then meron tayong emergency preparedness. So companies should organize drills for fire, explosion, chemical leakage, and other possible emergencies. Emergency equipment must also be functional and accessible at all times. So, hindi lang dapat or awareness, dapat ready talaga in case something happens talaga. So, next. So, yung last natin sa implementation ng OSH program is yung documentation and continuous improvement. So, companies must maintain records of inspections, trainings, and incidents. Accidents should be investigated properly, and corrective measures must be implemented. And based on findings, the safety system should continuously improve. So OSH programming is not a one-time setup. So, next slide. So, ang next natin is yung chapter 8, which will tackle about training of personnel on OSH. So, next slide, please. So, ano nga ba yung OSH training? So, yung OSH training refers to required educational and competency programs para sa workers, supervisors, and managers. So, the goal is for them to gain the necessary knowledge and skills para ma-identify yung workplace hazards, mag-prevent yung accidents, and malaman kung paano mag-respond during emergencies. And at the same time, this supports compliance with national laws and helps build a proactive safety culture within organizations. So, next slide. So, as per the legal basis, unang-una is yung Work Safety Law of the People's Republic of China. So, under this law, required ang lahat ng employers to provide safety education and training to workers. So, dapat alam ng workers yung paano mag-safe, paano yung safe operation ng procedures, emergency measures, and yung safety rights and duties nila. And very important na yung employees who have not received proper training are not allowed to start work. So, hindi sila pwedeng i-deploy kung hindi pa train. The next natin dun is yung law on the prevention and control of occupational diseases. So, this law requires employers to provide occupational health training before employment and during employment. So dito, tinuturo yung proper use ng protective measures and facilities para maiwasan yung occupational diseases. So next slide. So who must be trained? So meron tayong apat dito which is yung all employees. Kasama na din doon syempre yung interns and dispatch workers. Then meron tayong managers and safety personnel and special operation workers. So for all workers or lahat ng employees, they must receive basic OSH education before starting work. So kasama doon yung understanding general workplace hazards, familiarization with safety rules and procedures, yung emergency response instructions, and yung awareness of their rights and obligations under Chinese safety law. And again, if yung worker is not trained or not assessed as competent, hindi siya pwedeng bigyan ng duties. So next dun is yung special operation workers. So for workers in high-risk jobs, like heavy machinery operation, hazardous chemical handling, or lifting operation, they must undergo specialized safety training according to national requirements. And they must also obtain certification or qualification bago sila payagan mag-work. So yung mga specific training hours and sectors are usually defined in detailed administrative rules, and especially in industries like mining and chemical handling. And then about naman sa safety managers and safety personnel. Sa China, required din sila mag-undergo ng formal safety training. So based on translated implementation guides, usually may minimum initial training of around 32 hours and may annual training pa for safety managers. So continuous lang yung learning process nila, especially for those in leadership roles. So next slide. So specialized training. So for certain tasks, may mga certain tasks required yung role-specific safety education. So yung mga example nun is yung operation of high-risk machinery, handling hazardous chemicals, yung construction and mining activities, yung fire safety procedures, and yung mga emergency response and first aid. And again, operation workers must receive proper training and obtain qualifications before being assigned to those tasks. So next. So meron tayong mga apat na training methods. So yung first is yung face-to-face or classroom instruction. So this includes lectures, group discussions, practical demonstrations, and case studies facilitated by instructors or accredited training providers. Next dun is yung online or digital learning. So many companies use internal platforms or accredited providers, especially for theoretical topics and refresher courses. Then yung next dun is yung on-site practical training. So dito, kasama yung hazard walkthroughs and equipment-specific safety training. And then, last dito sa training methods natin is yung emergency drills and simulations. So, yung emergency drills and simulations, widely used practice siya in workplace to test preparedness and ensure that workers know how to respond properly during real-life emergency situations. So, combination siya ng theory and practical application para mas effective yung learning. So, next slide. So, bakit nga ba importante yung OSH training? So, syempre, first, for legal compliance, mandated siya under national safety laws. Then second, for prevention of workplace accidents. So, trained workers can recognize and mitigate risks. Then third is yung competence in emergencies. Mas prepared sila mag-respond quickly. And then lastly, to promote a strong safety culture within the organization through continuous training and awareness. So, yun lang para sa chapter na ito and magko-continue na yun yung next report.
So, for the next chapter, chapter 9, will be presented by Lance Maverick E. Molos. So, China's Occupational Safety and Health, or OSH legislation. Next slide, please. So, what is Occupational Safety and Health, or OSH legislation? So, China's Occupational Safety and Health, or OSH legislation, is the set of the laws that protect workers' safety and health in the People's Republic of China. So, basically, ito yung law para sa protect sa mga manggagawa sa kanilang manggagawa sa safety and health ng Republic of China. So it's mainly based on the work safety law of the Republic of China, which focuses on preventing workplace accidents and the law of prevention and control of occupational diseases, which addresses occupational health hazard. This law requires employers to ensure safe working conditions and provide protection for employees. Next slide. So China's relevant laws and regulation. So in the People's Republic of China, occupational safety and health is governed by several key national laws and regulation. These are number one, Work Safety Law of the People's Republic of China. The primary law on workplace safety. It requires employers to prevent accidents, implement safety management system, and ensure safety working conditions. Number two, law on prevention and control of occupational diseases. Focus on protecting workers from professional health hazards such as toxic chemical dust, noise, and radiation. So, ito yung parang protekta sa kalusugan ng mismong workers, no? Since hindi naman naiiwasan yung mga chemicals sa trabaho, mga dust or radiation. Number three, labor law and of the People's Republic of China. Contains provision on labor protection, workplace safety, and employees' welfare. So next slide. So number four, labor contract law of the People's Republic of China. Ensure that employment contracts include safety and health protection for workers. Number five, state council regulation and national standards or GB standards provide detailed technical requirements for workplace safety, equipment, fire protection, and occupational health management. These laws and regulation collectively from China's OSH legal framework, placing responsibility on employers to protect workers' safety and health. So itong mga batas na ito is more on para sa mga workers talaga, no? Para maka-issue nila na safe and protected yung mga employers nila sa nilang mga trabaho. Next slide. So, electrical and technical safety standards comparable to NFA 780 IEC 60364. So GB standards or WAO standards, China's national standards for safety and technical compliance. So GB 50054, code for design of low voltage electrical installation. GB 50052, code for design and power supply system. GBP 13869, General Rules for Safety of Electrical Installation. So GB 50116, ito yung code for designing automatic fire alarm system. So, akibat ng electrical or kuryente is yung fire, no? Kaya meron din silang fire safety law. So, Fire Protection Law of the People's Republic of China govern fire prevention and fire safety responsibilities. Next slide. So, China's OSH compliance requirements. So, establish a safety responsibility system. So, clearly assign a safety duties to management and employees with the principal person in charge legally responsible for workplace safety. So, hazard identification and risk control. So, ito naman yung magkocontact sila ng regular inspection para ma-identify nila kung ano yung hazard sa pinagtatrabahuan ng mga workers nila or ano yung potential na pwede maging hazard. So, safety training education. So, ito isa sa mahalaga is yung pag-train at pagturo ng safety sa mga magiging tauhan mo. So, para maging handa sila sa mga bagay-bagay na pwedeng mangyari. So, ito is mandatory sa kanila para yun nga, sa kanilang safety rin at sa kanilang safety sa pagtatrabaho. So, number four, provide personal protective equipment or PPE. Ito naman is siyempre ginagamit sa mismong trabaho na nila mismo. So, supply of PPE free of charge and ensure properties. Next slide. So, number five, occupational health monitoring. Occupational health monitoring. So, conduct workplace hazard monitoring and engage medical examination for employees exposed and occupational risk. So, since nga yung trabaho nila ay iba-iba, so mayroong mga na-expose din sa mga hindi naasahang mga chemicals, ganun. So, hindi maiiwasan yung magkaroon ng sakit. So, meron silang monitoring, no, or medical examination para sa mga employees nila. Lalo na sa mga exposed sa operational risk. Emergency preparedness. So, develop emergency response plans, conduct drills, and ensure the availability of emergency equipment. Number seven, accident reporting. So, report workplace accident promptly to authorities and conduct investigations. Number eight, compliance and national standards or GB standards. So, follow mandatory Chinese safety and technical standards for equipment, electrical system, and fire protection. Failure to comply may result in fines, suspension of operation, revocation of license, or criminal liability. So, next slide. So, Chapter 10, Plant Visit Simulation in China. Next slide. So, what is plant visit simulation in China? So, a plant visit simulation in China, in terms of electrical engineering, is a structure of academic activity that replicates an actual visit to an industrial electrical facility, such as a power plant, manufacturing plant, substation, or industrial production site. So, para siyang field trip natin. No? So, pinupuntahan nila mismo yung yung field na pwedeng pagtrabahuan after gumraduate, no? So, para lang din makita nila yung mga nangyayari or actual na nagaganap mismo sa field, no? Hindi lang puro theoretical lang. Instead of physically entering the student analyzes a simulated environment, virtual, case-based, and scenario-driven to understand electrical system operation, safety management, system, Chinese industrial standards, or occupational hazard and risk control issues. Next slide. So, simulated plant visit. So, a simulated plant visit is a virtual or struck walkthrough of an electrical facility where students observe equipment, processes, and safety system without physical exposure to contact. So, meron din silang 3D visual plant tour, meron din silang video-based inspection, so case study scenario, digital twin simulation, interactive provide checklist. So, ang purpose nito is mapakita sa mga magbibisit yung potential hazard na mangyayari without physically exposure. So, parang i-demo lang sa kanila, ipapakita sa kanila na hindi pero hindi yung magiging actual, like parang virtual lang. Next slide. So, areas covered in electrical needing simulation. So, during the simulation, student typically examine yung transformer yard, switchgear, motor control center, distribution panel, cable management system, backup generators, control room operation. So, syempre, kasama rin dito yung pag-visit na mismo ng control room na ano, yung uh, mismong nag-ooperate sa mismong planta, no? Para kahit paano ma-expose na sila or makita nila kung paano ginagamit and saan ito, kung ano purpose nito. Next slide. So, safety system. So, syempre, meron din silang mga safety system. So, like a fire suspension system, emergency exit, arc flash label, lockout and tagout station, grounding and bonding system, and PPE compliance. Next slide. So, purpose of simulated plant visit. So, uh, purpose nito is to understand electrical plant operations, to analyze safety procedures, to evaluate compliance with Chinese regulations, to identify potential hazard, develop hazard control recommendation, to improve risk assessment skills. Next slide. So, identifying the OSH hazard and risk. So, isa sa mga main hazard or risk is yung electrical hazard. Siyempre, di na mawawala yan lalo sa field mo. So, branch nito is yung electrical shock. So, mga reasons na pwede nangyari kung bakit nagkaroon ng electrical shock is yung expose yung live conductors, damage yung insulations, and improper grounding. Next slide. So, one of the branches of electrical hazard is yung arc flash or arc glass. So, reason nito is yung faulty switchgear, so improper breaker coordination, or lack of arc flash labeling. Next slide. So, isa pa dito is yung pabalik ako sa kabila. Kabila ko, sumobra. Yan. Hindi. Yung nauna bago yung fire. Yan. So, electrical hazard na isa is yung common naman sa atin is yung overloading. No? So, reasons ito, excessive current in cables, o unrated breakers, and overheated equipments. Next slide. Isa sa mga hazard increase is yung fire hazard. So, sabi ko nga kanina na kung merong electrical hazard, meron din fire hazard dahil sa mga reason nito is yung overheated transformers, poor ventilation, flammable materials near panels, improper cable management. Next slide. So, mechanical hazard. So, syempre sa field or sa industry, merong mga ginagamit na malalaking makina doon. So hindi na may iwasan yung magkaroon ng mechanical hazard like sobrang tagal na or hindi na may maintenance. Ayun yung mga isang reason, no? Rotating machinery, conveyor belt, moving parts without guards. So, yung mga walang mga overload, expose siya ng mga lalo na yung mga rotating machinery kasi rotating is nagkakaroon siya ng friction, so umiinit siya. Next slide. So, human factor hazard. Siyempre, hindi lang yung workplace yung may mga hazard. So, siyempre, meron din tayo mga tao. So, bakit nga ba nagkakaroon? So, siyempre, PPE for training or hindi ganun kasanay or kapihasa sa trabaho. So, during blackout and tagout, improper supervision. So, next slide po.
So, good day po. I'm Carl Vincent Sigal, the last reporter for this group. And I'm going to report about the China's occupational safety and health regulations. Next slide, please. So, the governing authority for occupational safety in China. First one is the Ministry of Emergency Management of the People's Republic of China. The Ministry of Emergency Management of the People's Republic of China, or MEM for in short, is a cabinet-level agency responsible for coordinating national responses to natural disasters, workplace accidents, and other emergencies. Created in 2018, it consolidated multiple disaster and safety functions to improve China's emergency management efficiency and resilience. The next one is the National Health Commission of the People's Republic of China. The oh, the National Health Commission of the People's Republic of China, or NHC, is the cabinet-level executive department under the State Council responsible for national health policy, medical services, and public health administration in mainland China. Established in March 2018, it succeeded the former National Health and Family Planning Commission as part of the government reorganization to modernize health systems and improve coordination of health and family services. The next one is the State Administration for Market Regulation, or the SAMR in short. It's a cabinet-level agency of the People's Republic of China responsible for market supervision, regulation, and law enforcement. It oversees areas such as antitrust enforcement, product quality, food safety, intellectual property, and fair competition, playing a key role in maintaining economic order and consumer protection in China. Lastly, the Work Safety Law of the People's Republic of China is the country's principal legislation governing of occupational health and safety. Basically, ito yung naghahawak ng pinaka-safety ng lahat ng mga workers in China. And first adopted in 2002 and substantially revised in 2014 and 2021. It establishes legal responsibilities for employers, workers, and government bodies to prevent workplace accident and safeguard employees' lives and health. Next slide, please. The electrical safety regulation in China. China does not use OSHA like the Philippines or the US, but instead follows national standard known as the GB standards, or the Guobiao standards. The first one is the GB 50303. Is a national standard of the People's Republic of China titled Code for Construction and Acceptance of Electrical Installation Engineering. It defines the technical and quality requirements for electrical installation in construction projects. The code is widely used as a benchmark for safety, reliability, and compliance in China's building and engineering sectors. The next one is the GB 50054. si Chinese national standard that specifies how low voltage power distribution system should be designed in buildings and industrial facilities. It provides mandatory rules for safety, reliability, energy efficiency, and coordination with other Chinese electrical standards. Itong GB standards, nare-regulate nila yung wiring system, grounding, and earthing, protection against electrical shock, short circuit protection, and insulation inspection procedures. Next slide, please. Electrical equipment safety. The China Compulsory Certification, or CCC in short, is a mandatory safety and quality mark required for many products sold or imported into China. It serves as the national conformity assessment system designed to protect consumer safety and ensure product quality and align domestic standards with international norms. Basically, ito yung ginagamit sa mga products para makita na safe yung mga appliances natin. Pag meron kang certification nito, may ensure na meron siyang fire safety compliance, meron siyang insulation integrity, meron din siyang shock protection and overcurrent protection. Next slide, please. Next one is the machinery safety. Along with the machinery safety is the GB 5226.1. Ito yung Chinese national standard specifying safety requirements for electrical equipment of machines. It aligns closely with the international standard IEC 60204-1, adapting it for domestic regulatory and industrial context in China. The standard plays a key role in ensuring machinery safety, reliability, and compliance across manufacturing and automation sectors. Next one is the GB/T 15706 is a Chinese national standard that provides general principles for risk assessment and risk reduction related to machinery safety. It defines a structured approach for identifying hazard, evaluating risks, and implementing protective measures to ensure machinery operates safely throughout its life cycle. Itong mga standard na to, kino-cover niya yung emergency stop system, machine guarding, interlocking system, lockout or tagout procedures, and risk reduction methods. Also under this, factories must conduct hazard assessment, train operators, install protective devices, and maintain safety documentation. Next slide, please. The power plant and high voltage safety. The first one is the National Energy Administration, or NEA in short, is China's central government agency responsible for formulating and implementing national energy policies, operating under the National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC in short. It oversees the country's energy industries, including electricity, coal, oil, natural gas, and renewable energies, and it serves as the main energy regulatory for the Chinese government. The next one is the State Grid Corporation of China, or SGCC. It's a state-owned electric utility enterprise founded in 2002 and headquartered in Beijing. It's the world's first or largest utility company by revenue and electricity distribution scale. It's responsible for supplying power to over 1 billion people across most of the mainland China. SGCC plays a central role in China's energy security and country's transition to cleaner power. And this regulates, itong mga agencies na to, nire-regulate nila yung live-to-line work procedure, high voltage insulation requirements, arc flash protection, switching operation safety, personal protection equipment or PPE, and permit to work systems. Next slide, please. Occupational safety and safety standards equivalent to RA 11058. First one is the law and on prevention and control of occupational diseases in China's principal legislation governing the prevention, diagnostic, and management of work-related illnesses. This was enacted to protect workers' health and workplace safety. It outlines the responsibilities of employers, employees, and government bodies in controlling occupational hazards. Next one is the standard serves as the benchmark for evaluating workplace for air quality, guiding employers, occupational health professionals, and the health inspector in assessing compliance. By establishing maximum allowable concentration, GBC 2.1 aims to prevent acute and chronic health effects from chemical exposure and aligns domestic practice with international occupation hygiene principle. Bali, itong mga law na to, or itong mga governing bodies, also work on workplace hazard monitoring, dust, chemical, and radiation control, medical examination for workers, employer-funded health checks, and lastly, reporting of the occupational diseases. Next slide, please. Enforcement and penalties. China enforces its occupational safety and health regulation very strictly under the Work Safety Law of the People's Republic of China. The primary agency responsible for enforcing is the Ministry of Emergency Management of the People's Republic of China. Together with local emergency management bureaus, companies are required to implement safety management system, conduct risk assessment, provide worker training, and report accidents immediately. Regular inspections are conducted, especially in high-risk industries such as construction, mining, and power generation. Under the work safety law, companies may face heavy fines, business suspension, criminal liability for managers, and blacklisting in national credit system. Next slide, please. And lastly, comparison with Philippines, OSHA. When comparing Philippines to China to the Philippines, both countries have national frameworks for occupational safety, but they differ in structure and enforcement approach. The Philippines, occupational safety is supervised by the Department of Labor and Employment under OSHA, and related laws in contrast. China's system is centralized under the Ministry of Emergency Management of the People's Republic of China, which directly oversees workplace safety nationwide. Bali makikita natin dito sa table na yung mga differences or mga present sa Philippines na ginagamit natin para ma-oversee yung OSHA. First one yung mga nag-oversee sa OSHA, which is yung OSHA or DOLE. In comparison naman sa China, yung Ministry of Emergency Management, which was stated earlier. Dito naman sa Philippines, ginagamit din natin yung Philippine Electrical Code for the electrical safety code. Sa China naman, ginagamit nila yung GB 50054 or GB 50303 para sa kanilang code. And RA 11058, in comparison naman, ginagamit naman ng China yung work safety law na stated din kanina. Ayan din. And lastly, yung DOLE inspection, yung kanina nga, and MEM and local emergency bureaus yung nag-check naman sa China. And next slide, please. Ayan lang po. Thank you for listening. God bless.